the rise of intelligent warehouse automation. Topic of my conversation today with Zaven Gabriel. He is product marketing manager for Locus Robotics. Hello, Zaven.
Hi, Bob. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much for being with me. So we're seeing a growing complexity, obviously, of fulfillment operations driving the demand for intelligent, and I emphasize the word intelligent, warehouse automation. So what key challenges are businesses facing in seeking this type of technology?
So I think a lot of the key challenges they're not new. They've been around for a while, but I think they're looming larger than ever in a lot of minds. So it's a lot of the same stories that we've heard for a number of years. The labor shortages and rising demand, the growing volatility in order volumes over the course of the year, sometimes now with not just the sort of traditional peak seasons, but also things like a social media influencer might plug a product and suddenly you've got to, 6 times as much as you did last week. So the challenges have, as I said, are the same as they've always been, but they're looming larger than ever, and they're changing faster.
Yeah. I guess I should ask you, I mean, I stressed the word intelligent when I asked that question. What are we talking about? Why are we now calling warehouse automation intelligent, whereas we might not have previously?
I think that the advances in AI, and I'm not just talking about the sort of generative AI that's covering the news waves everywhere, but machine learning and robotics have really reached, especially in the past couple of years, a real tipping point in automation. You see it on the floor here that the number of possible ways to solve these challenges with automation is just growing by leaps and bounds every single year.
So what does AI bring to the table? Tell me more about what an AI-driven system is today.
Yeah, so the more that systems like this are installed in warehouses, the more data they collect on these operations, and the more that data can be used to train and to anticipate future changes. And so systems that use their own experience and can sort of cross check their past experience to sort of adapt to future changes. Those kinds of capabilities that are enabled by these generational leaps in computing are really driving the market forward.
How about flexibility though? Because in warehouses it's not a steady state all the time. Demand rises or falls daily, seasonally, over years. Need to scale up when demand goes up. Are the systems of today allowing for that level of flexibility?
I think many of them are, yes. And that is, you mentioned flexibility. I think flexibility is absolutely critical to the success of these systems and to the success of these companies' investments in automation. There are a lot of systems out there that are, that have, the way they're designed can be a little bit more rigid, and you hear the phrase, build the church for Easter Sunday, but it's not just about overcapacity. I think systems that are, a lot of these automation systems, especially in the picking space, which is, whether it's a cube storage or a goods-to-person system or something, it's essentially a box that stores product and spits it out at you at a fixed number of picking locations.
Right.
Any system like that, with the kind of volatility that we see, any system like that is fundamentally going to be either too big or too small or both all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily going to be able to adapt to the changes as fast as you.
But you can bring in a certain number of robots at a peak period, and when things slump a little bit, can you put them aside and reduce the number in the warehouse?
Exactly, that's right. I think the approach that we can take with collaborative mobile automation is really something that it gives you the throughput advantage and the density advantage over a traditionally manual operation while preserving the flexibility that you need. I think the problem that comes in with some of the more rigid systems is that if you overfit to a particular metric, such as storage density, you run into unacceptable trade-offs on flexibility, and that will ultimately hurt you in the long run.
So you really have to define what your facility needs before you even start to look at the appropriate technology, don't you? I mean,
that's right. That's right.
I'm thinking, there's a lot of shiny things on the floor here that look great, but you kind of, before you pay for them, you got to know what you need.
Absolutely right. Defining the problem is I have an engineering background myself, and defining and characterizing the problem before you ever fixate on a particular solution or pick a system is absolutely key. And I think preserving the flexibility especially forward-looking flexibility as well. So you're not just trying to solve the problem today, but trying to get an understanding of how that problem is going to change over time, and making sure that the investment you make in a system is going to allow you to continue to address that problem as it changes.
Okay, so as you go forward with that investment, what other kinds of key factors should companies keep in mind, especially if they're wanting to realize rapid ROI, which is always a big issue, especially with top executives, and long-term success in your operation? What should you be thinking of?
So rapid ROI, you want to get your, obviously your ROI is going to be, you're going to get a faster ROI the lower your costs get. The lower the upfront cost, the better. So systems that allow you to, flexibility in, we were talking about flexibility in the size of the system that you could grow and change over time. Many of those systems will also come as will have an as a service type pricing model where you can, you're only paying for what you need when you need it, and you can grow that and change that over time. That also allows you to shift the expensive automation from CapEx to OpEx. So you're not paying for a giant system up front and trying to design it for what your facility might look like 5 or 10 years from now. You're paying for what you need today, but it's a system that can grow and change over time as you need it.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much, Zaven, for helping us to understand what's going on in warehouse operations. It's awfully confusing trying to pick from all these great systems out there and understand how to adopt them with maximum efficiency, productivity, ROI, and the like. Thank you for being with me on that. I would like to ask you very briefly to tell me about Locus Robotics.
Yeah, so Locus Robotics is, we are one of that galaxy of systems you see here at ProMat. I think, somewhat uniquely among them, we were founded by warehouse people and not robotics people. I happen to be an electrical engineer and a robotics person myself, but our company comes from a warehousing and fulfillment background. And a lot of the success with Locus has been really understanding that problem and designing a system to fit it. So we started in the person to goods space with robots that are collaborative with humans in picking, and we really our solutions looking forward have been all about that. So we are closing in on, I think next month we will hit our 5 billionth pick worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, we're about 4.7 right now, and we do about 40 million a week. So it's really, really exciting. We've seen a lot of success.
Amazing. Thanks again, Zaven. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's been a pleasure.
I have been speaking with Zaven Gabriel of Locus Robotics. Thank you very much for watching.